neighbor. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Ozark Homestead. You know, here it is, fall. We're right into the throes of fall here. Leaves starting to change. Now it's time to clean up. The garden's about done. I'll show you here in a little bit, you know, what's going on in the in-ground garden out there. And part of that cleanup, getting ready to overwinter, as I like to put, in the garden. There's some things that I do, and we'll have some videos on that, to prep the garden spot for, excuse the traffic, to prep the garden spot for next spring. And already thinking, you know, what are we going to do next spring? What are we going to do next spring? Now, one of the things that we're going to do in doing a cleanup is I'm going to show you how to remove T-posts from the garden. Now, I know a lot of people use T-posts. I like them because I like to grow vertically. Saves you some space. And makes your harvesting a little bit easier too, because it's you know, up off the ground where you can get to it. And but when you remove T-posts, there's a number of ways people do it. I mean, there's some people that their ground is to the point to where it's soft enough that, you know, they can go out there and just pull them up out of the ground. There's some people that's fortunate enough to have a tractor with a bucket on it and be able to just, you know, put a chain on the bucket and put it around the T-post, pull it up out of the ground. There's some people that actually go buy an actual, what they call T-post remover. You know, spending money on something like that. But the way I'm going to show you how to do it, and it cost me $5. Now, for you younger folks, when I show you this, you may not have any idea of what I'm showing you. But this right here is what I'm going to be using. This right here. Now, for folks that don't know what this is an old car jack. An old car jack. You know, back in the day when you had to change a tire, you put this down, and or what we call bumper jack, and there's a spot on the bumper where you can put it underneath the bumper and raise it up. And raise it up off the ground. I found this. Now today they make bumpers and whatever that really won't work with one of these. But I found this at a flea market for $5. Now it wouldn't work on my truck or anything like that, but I looked at that and I thought, you know, that's a perfect to pull a T-post out of the ground. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a little bit. All you're going to need is this, set like this, and a small piece of chain is all you're going to need to pull that T-post up out of the ground. So if you don't have the capabilities or don't have what I described as far as being able to pull up the T-post, keep an eye out at flea markets, garage sales, things of that nature, and pick you up a car jack. Yeah, you might only use it one time a year, but I tell you what, if you use, say, 10, 15, maybe 20 T-posts, that's going to save you a whole lot of time. So we're going to get out there and then we'll show you a little bit of an update on some of the gardens and some of the projects we got going on, and to kind of get ready for next year, because you got to always think ahead. So let's take it out there to the garden and see what we can do. Okay, this is what's left of the fall garden. I mean, here it is. I believe it's October the 19th, 2023. We haven't had a frost here yet, here in the Ozarks. Fortunately, because I got a few things that's still going on. As you can see right here, we've got turnips, a lot of turnips. I've already harvested some out of there, and we've got those. Tomatoes are done. Okra, had a really good patch of okra. I only had 6 plants. One is huge. And they produce a lot of okra. Did a late planting of sweet peas. I've never grown sweet peas before, but I thought I'd give it a try and put a row in, and I've harvested quite a few. And according to our weather, I might be able to get 3 or 4 more pickings off of it before it does really turn off cold. But as you can see, one of the things we're going to talk about today is I use a lot of T-post. a lot of T-posts. Matter of fact, down through here we had cucumbers going on with trellises that were placed in my T-post. Of course, I got T-posts that I set up for my tomato plants. And some of my earlier videos we talked about the Florida weave and how we did that. And I'm going to show you, because like I said, tomatoes are done. I've already taken out some of the row, and I've got this final little stretch to do. And I'm going to show you how to get these posts out of the ground. Now, a lot of people think you can just go out there, grab a hold of it, and pull it up. No, it doesn't quite work that way. If the ground's super wet, maybe. But here in the Ozarks, when you drive a T-post down, once you get past your topsoil, now you're into clay. And it has a tendency to hang on to your T-post. But I'm going to show you an inexpensive way to get those out. Okay, first thing we're going to do is clear this out to where we can get to the T-post. Now, I was telling you in an earlier video was about Florida weave. I still got it in here. This tomato plant's all done. And the great thing about a Florida weave, it makes it real handy when you want to clear everything out. So basically, you just cut your Florida weave strings off. Get it off the other end here. And we'll cut her down all the way. There. Now all we got to do is just grab a hold of it, like so. Make sure you got all the strings in there, and just pull everything out. Pretty well got them all at one shot. And if you break some off on the ground, that's okay. You know, there's a lot of train of thought is leaving roots in the ground. Let them go ahead and rot into the garden. So let's see if we can't pull this T-post out. Okay, here we got our T-post, and I'm telling you, I couldn't pull that up out of the ground. So what I do is take our post, and we'll take this chain. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that, see where it's got these knobs, you know, which would normally hold fencing on it, make sure that they're to the front of where you're going to pull this, because what you're going to do is you're going to wrap this chain around and then put it onto the jack and get it tightened up here. And it may take a few times to get it where it catches one of those knobs. Yes, it did. When I got it, it did have a tire iron with it that you could fit in there. And once it gets a good solid hold on it, then you start working it up. And here we go. Now, if you had a longer chain, you could wrap it around there a couple of times. And I could put this down lower to the ground for you to see it, but we're getting it done. And I believe we're out. And these old car jacks, they usually have a little lever on the side for up or down. You can put it in either direction and it'll take it down. We just take the chain off. And there it is. We have now removed the T-post using an old car jack. Not bad. Not bad. A couple of dollars at the flea market. I have an official T-post remover. Didn't take as long to do that either. So it's something to think about. All right, let's look at some of the other projects that's going on. As far as our raised beds go, we now have, back this out where you can see, I have one more sweet potato plant that I put in, and it is now strung across both raised beds. My garlic is starting to come up, getting set for the winter. And the same way with my onions. I do have a few turnips in there too. And my pepper plants are still, even in the raised bed, are still putting out peppers. I have serranos there, and then we have habaneros here and there. And then I still have a few tomato plants that are just hanging on, and they actually have set fruit. And they're starting to turn a little bit. I'm hoping before it comes to frost we can get a harvest out of these tomatoes. And then the other raised bed I've already set. I've decided to make this into a strawberry bed, so I got a few strawberries already planted in there. And now we're going to go take a look and show you the aftermath of using straw bales in the garden and what has happened next. Okay, here's what has happened with the straw bales. And this is after one season. It has broken down quite a little bit. As you can see from the side, this one is really broken down. This one's still kind of in its shape, but they did very well. And I should be able to use these one more season. Now the other project we're working on is I'm going to try to overwinter some of my pepper plants. They've done real well. These are California bells, red bells, and they did really good this year. And we're going to see, let's go see if we can keep them going, because they are perennials. And a lot of people say, well, why are you going to save them? Just get more plants next year. Well, this will give me a head start, and maybe produce a bigger plant and get a little bit more production. So there you go. There's the update on the fall garden here at the Ozark Homestead. And we got some other projects that are lined up that we're going to be doing. One of the things is I've been doing quite a few harvesting of peppers, and I've already dehydrated, canned, pickled, and now I'm taking and making hot sauce, which I'll bring a video on that. My problem with filming, as far as in there cooking and doing things of that nature, I got a very small kitchen, so it's kind of cramped, but we're going to give it a try. Making hot sauce, and I've got peppers fermenting right now, and there's all kinds of videos out there right now about how to make hot sauce, how to do this, how to do that with your peppers. And so I'm not going to bore a lot of people with a thing they may have seen 100 times, but show you just a little bit of how I do it here, just kind of a mini video on it. But now's the time to start thinking about spring. Cleaning up the garden, getting any amenities into it that you need to, prepping it so it can overwinter, and that way you get a fresh start next year when it's growing season. Because I'm telling you, we need to think about growing. Even if you don't have a garden spot or anything, if you've got a porch, you got a little backyard, whatever it may be, grow in containers. Do a lot of container gardening. I did a little bit of that this year, and it worked out pretty good. If you don't have a place to do an in-ground garden, do straw bales. And I would go ahead and get straw bales now and let them overwinter, and that'll start breaking them down and get you a head start in the spring. And then I'll do a video this spring about how to break down those straw bales to where you can start planting into them. But this will give you a little bit of a head start. So hopefully you learned something today on how to take out T-posts. That was one of the most important things that we need to do. And pardon the traffic going up and down. But hopefully you learned something. And keep your eye out. Go to the flea market. Go to the garage sales. Go look around and yard sales and things like that. Maybe you can find you a good old-fashioned car jack, and it'll save you some money, because you can probably get it for next to nothing and just stick it back and put it in your arsenal, what I call your garden arsenal, to improve on how you do things in your garden. So until the next video, I want to say goodbye here from the Ozark Homestead, and just remember, keep getting your hands dirty. That's what it's all about. See y'all later.